ExDee Gaming, ExDee versus OGCore.
Yeah, ExDee Gaming performed yesterday, but now let's take a look at our roster. For OGCore, we have Instinct as their offlaner, Draco as their mage, Prem as their marksman, Sparky as their jungler, and Chipmunk as their observer.
Here, boy. Sounds like a dog's name, Sparky. Here, boy. And then ExDee Gaming, it's gonna be Shiny X as the offlaner, Dexter with the mage role, Kaz on the marksman, Pain in that jungler, and Blast Toys. Gotta catch them all as our observer.
Yes, sir. ExDee Gaming, obviously not a stranger here in this tournament or in the Arena of Valor Indian scene overall, as they have never dropped a tournament and won almost everything that they've joined in. And currently, yesterday we did mention how at the Valor Cup C3, they have been the top one seed. So they've been performing super well. Yesterday, they have defeated SPTX in a 2-0 dominating fashion as well. I think the games were below 10 minutes as well. So they were very confident. They know where to go and know how to push with their lead.
Yeah, definitely. And they have a really nice observer as well. Blastoise, I feel like, has a lot of presence around the map, not only on those you think standard rotations dictate, but it just feels like when you watch ExDee Gaming, he basically just kind of puts his influence everywhere that you can find him, and that actually allows ExDee to do what they want to without too much difficulty, so to speak.
Yeah, exactly. And OGCore, of course, they have defeated the Wildlings in a 2-0 fashion as well. And again, we really don't know what to expect in this tournament. Currently at around 16 in the tournament here for day number 2. So in terms of practice, I'm pretty sure they have already warmed up in the bracket, as we have started from 64 teams and now we are down to just a handful. Tomorrow we'll be witnessing round 8, and then Sunday, for those of you who just arrived at the stream, Sunday will be our playoff semifinals, and towards the grand finale will be a best of 5 series, in contrast to what we have right now, which is a single elimination BO3.
Yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of pressure here for OGCore to keep the dream alive, not only for them, but for their fallen comrade, obviously Gods, who was taken out a while ago by, I believe that was, again, exiled. And what do you think are like some of the picks that we might kind of be worried about when you go up against ExDee Gaming? Just for possibly the viewers there, what do you think?
Well, ExDee Gaming, I feel like they have a lot. Like, for example, game number 1, they tried to test the waters a little bit by securing most of the meta picks in the current scene. So no questions asked. Maybe they just really want that Wonder Woman, Max, and if Superman is made available, perhaps they're one of the most capable teams to execute it well and confidently. With that said, though, for the side of OGCore, I still haven't seen them just yet, but I do expect them to lock in really, really heavy hitters like Joker, Preda, just like before, and maybe perhaps some Zephys. Murad is a very 50-50 pick. Sometimes early game it doesn't work, so I really don't expect Murad to be back later in later into the game.
Definitely, I would agree with you with all those points. It feels like ExDee is a team out of all these teams that has the biggest hero pool. So trying to counterpick them or trying to kind of like deter their strategy might not be the smartest decision here. What you kind of want to do is, once again, like we keep saying, is try to set your tempo, get those hot hitter pick or heavy hitter picks already. So we're just going to get into the draft already, and we'll see how they kind of transition into this game. Because if you saw yesterday, ExDee Gaming kind of didn't really repeat their picks on the 2 games that they played. Maybe just the max, but aside from that, they even brought a tell on us for us to watch from yesterday's matches.
Yeah, they have a lot of teams to work with, and it did mention how it could be an automatic Zephys pick unless they're the type of team that goes Sentinel first, or maybe the Joker. There's so many things, or there's so many combinations that they could do. Where are their key players? Where are their strengths at? And they decide to go for the Zephys. This time around, it could be a Ryoma Joker pick here, but then again, we still have a few moments. It's still ExDee Gaming is one of those teams that has a lot on their arsenal. Their champ or their hero pool rather is so out there. And just as I said that, it's a Violet and Joker.
Wow, very like kind of digging back into the classic marksman here. You have yourself the mid Joker and the Violet, the true marksman, or even the jungler, I believe. And now we're seeing OGCore here to counter that out with the Preda once again to set the pace of the game. But to kind of battle the Zenial, on the other hand, they're going to be setting up possibility of the Max and the Raz. So, alright, so a lot of poke here coming out from that Joker and Raz, and Max is pretty dang good for like kind of cleaning up house when he uses that ultimate.
So many damage dealers. I'm expecting ExDee Gaming to try to make this composition work by getting that early lead and strong arming their way towards jungle resources of OGCore. But meanwhile, on the other side of the spectrum, let's see what their last pick is going to be, because you did mention Joker mid lane, but because of the dynamics of Raz being added into the roster, perhaps it's going to be a side lane or bottom lane Joker, and then jungler, Violet, and then Raz mid. But looking at the side of OGCore this time around, it's a very balanced. On paper, I am a fan of the OGCore draft rather than rather than ExDee Gaming's, because I feel like it's more balanced. There's a lot of frontline tankiness, but at the same time, still a lot of oomph when it comes to damage. Preda, definitely something that they could watch out for, especially we've seen so many, spectral plagues being unleashed, and it's just 1/4 HP squishy targets. That's Violet, Joker, and Raz, 3 super squishy targets in that composition.
Yeah, definitely. Although you have to also take into account that there is a good amount of range for the Joker and the Violet, and even though we don't really see Violet that much, I feel like she's still one of the best marksmen out there. Although it feels like she needs that certain type of playstyle or team composition to make her worth. But once you get her scaling into that late game, when she tumbles in, you better feel your life, because she can just crit you down. That's how powerful the Violet is once she comes into that late game. But like you said, definitely something that they have to be worried about is that Preda pick. We saw on the match before, which was between Reborn and the Primes, wherein I believe that was Reborn who keeps using that Preda to just maximum damage effect, and it worked wonder for them. So it could actually do the same thing here for OGCore, and pretty kind of interesting to see, or happy to, spotting out a Crest for the first time today. So,
I think it's going to be an effective pick, especially if they want to dive in for against all these squishies. So I'm really expecting some really effective plays from OGCore.
All right, so let's get into game number 1. We'll be your casters for this final game here. And once again, my name is Asra. Here now is Iku, and OGCore starting it on the bottom side as ExDee Gaming on the top, and no invades whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're a little bit. They're gonna be testing the waters. Game number 1, one of those. It's a best of 3 series. There's a little bit room to grow or try to feel out what is necessary. Are we gonna be aggressive at game number, or rather level 1 fights? I guess it wasn't really that necessary. Most of the teams I see in other regions would try and invade. They have the capability to do so. Sometimes you see Ivory, Ryoma, they do have that punish. They'll try to steal and try to interrupt the jungle rotations, the opposition, especially on their jungler side. So we're not going to be seeing that, although I really expecting a lot from OGCore, because in terms of, strong arming their way in 5v5 team fights, they have more kits, they have more, they have the damage, they have very balanced,
utility?
Healing, and as well, healing, utility from the Zenial and the Crash. So I'm looking forward for what OGCore has in mind here.
Yeah, OGCore, again, like I said, testing out the waters for now, but they can't test it too long, as our big objective is about to come out in 30 seconds. That being the Abyssal Dragon here. Max still yet to hit his level 4. No left off for him just yet. Level 3 for this Zenyo, so he can possibly get into the fight earlier than the max is, but I believe with this wave, he should be able to have that in mind. As you can see now, 4 of the other members for each team is starting to position themselves, corral into the bottom side to go for our first matchup here. And ExDee Gaming using their range to kind of overextend and harass their opponents. Now Zeph is going to come in here and he can go for a 2-man knockup, and the lineup is just going to be too dang good for him as they try to escape. The Breakaway will be there, and Ryoma gets the first blood, 1-for-1 in terms of the trade, and who went down for OGCore here. That is going to be HMU on this Crest, and well, no Abyssal Dragon just yet. They're gonna reset for now.
Yeah, the Crest was only, I believe, level 2 earlier, so none of the metamorphosis, none of the innate tankiness was available there. ExDee Gaming easily just drove their way and their way there at the bot side of the map. The thing about the composition of ExDee Gaming, they have a lot of sources, consistent damage from their double marksman composition, and if they want that magic damage, and they do have that Raz just so that they could not counter fully with all of fully armored opposition from OGCore rather. But looking at their matchup right now, looks like they're going to be a little bit conservative of taking this Abyssal Dragon, because they'd rather not deal with, you know, instinct here on the Xennial when he goes down, as the Max on the other hand is going to have a fun time bullying out the Xennial at the...
Yeah, but it seems like Xennial is doing pretty dang good right here, right now. Level 4 of the max, and he can start maybe putting a bit more pressure outside of the top side lane there. But now as the Abyssal Dragon is being started, we could see blood being splattered on the field. Although both of these teams are kind of, again, iffy in over-committing to this particular objective. And as you can see, there is a lot, I feel like, respect from OGCore here, you know, to give possibly one of the best teams in India, ExDee Gaming, not really breathing space, but rather, you know, just respect space, so to speak.
Yes, OGCore has 2 choices here. One, seeing the Violet on top. Do we go for Abyssal Dragon or spawn there? You can go for 2. Just send over like 2 members at the Abyssal Dragon. Let's see who has Punish. Only 1 person has Punish, which is Pain. 2 people at the opposite side. Normally Xennial, you find him wear a Punish as well. So immediately he could just fly downward if ever things get a little bit too sticky and try to help out take down the objective. But looks like they're going to be a little bit more reserved and decided to just back away and respect each other and try to fight another day instead.
A kind of interesting fact here, even though Blastoise has been putting a lot of emphasis in putting his presence known in the map, he hasn't really gone and gotten himself XP. If you can see on OGCore side, there is that the... I think that was the Zephys.
Oh, Zephys?
And Blastoise with the Mina is still level 3 and no ultimate just yet, pretty low on the levels. You gotta be careful for his life because he's not gonna have the stats to actually go up against a level 7 Zephys with, you know, double buff. That's gonna be very, very tricky to kind of, you know, interact with.
That is true. I guess their priority here for ExDee Gaming, their logic is, it's okay if I sacrifice experience as long as I have the information where the rest of the members of OGCore is. And as a Mina, at least I have a flicker. If I get caught out, I'll just have to rotate safely, but make sure that the objectives are safe. And once I'm ready, okay, then maybe we could try and take something away from OGCore. Mina is already level 4. The taunt is going to be available for ExDee Gaming for that set, for that additional safety for their team.
Oh, the death rush is going to be real here, but the Prado Wave actually softens up the members right now of ExDee. They try to run away, but the Crush made a beautiful use on that. They flicker away, and Blastoise is no more. And Kaz is trying to do the best they can to actually commit the damage with this Joker. But OGCore is over-committing in. Fight Shiny goes in with the max, and he comes back with the kills. 3 for the price of 2. And what looked like to have been a great fight for OGCore becomes disaster as they went 2 XD, and that is never what you want to happen to you ever in this match.
Yeah, they had the correct setup and correct mindset there for OGCore. But because of so many outplay potential that you could do, especially with the Raz, I can push you towards my turret, or with the Mina, I can pull you in, even though you don't want to be there. And that's the reason why XD Gaming is one of the top teams. But I'm really delighted to see, at least yesterday, we were talking about who can make them bleed, but Sparky is gonna fall. There's the Pain. Super duper effective DPSing from Pain from XD.
Pain is level 11. Nobody even close to how strong he is right now. So if Blastoise did not get any of that XP, it all went into the pocket of Pain, and it is definitely up to their gain. Bottom tier 1 plus a kill, and he is getting every single thing fall into place for him. And even though OGCore looked to have gotten a pretty sweet deal on that mid tier 1, it kind of backfired, and because of that, Pain once again it is, you know, kind of spearheading for XD Gaming. The damage is going to be real, double triple here, as that crash is well in their sights to actually be followed through right here, right now.
Good point there as well. Metamorphosis activated. Let's see if they're going to get an exchange here. But looks like no. But as you can tell from the early phases of the game, the first one to reach level 4 was Violet. Obviously, Wave Fear for Violet, so easy with the animation resets on her skills, and as well as the burst damage coming in. But Instinct's going to get jumped upon.
He tried to actually go and defend his top tier 1, and it blew up in his face. Pain was right there once again to be the collector of that kill, and the Zenyo tried to do the best that he can to actually escape from that one, but he's not going to actually be able to do just that, as Dexter is going to be follow up, and he explodes with this Raz, just going in, you know, with that Fist of Fury, going in hot and heavy and just blowing up at his opponents, and even helping hand for our Violet here and now, as he gets himself that Kobe kill from downtown and getting a 4K as well as that top tier 1 repeat.
Yeah, I mean, earlier OGCore had a good mindset from getting a pick, but all this time Violet was farming and just clearing down and soaking experience. So at this point, they're gonna be trying to push with their lead and try to invade the jungle and try to take everything away from OGCore, because they want to maintain that lead. Level 14 already on this Violet, 13 on the Joker, and the highest level on the side of OGCore is level 10. That is going to be so painful whenever they try to make an engage. And there you go, Sparky falls from the Joker.
The range is gonna be real. They will at least try to find out their shiny, but well, he's gonna be fine and dandy there, as you see Blastoise into the side. He was under leveled a while ago, but now he is over leveled, comparing him against the other members here of OGCore. Dexter is gonna be flickering over the wall right now as he spots out his teammates being in a bit of a pickle here, but of course he just goes in and blasts them away, pun intended, with the help from Blastoise on that Mina, who just destroys everybody with that taunt from her, and now that mid tier 3 is exposed.
Yes, sir. XD Gaming played their drafting so well, getting both of the strongest marksmen in the game at the moment, and leaving, if you get that Zephyr's pick, you're aiming to have that jungle. So if ever there's no, what do you call this, if they want to lock in that Lindis, I guess side lane Lindis isn't too bad, but you're not maximizing the strength of a Lindis, I suppose. That's the reason why they were stuck with that composition, because I mean, they don't have that consistent damage dealer, that ranged consistent damage dealer on the side. Even though if they want to dive, it's a little bit too late in terms of their levels, and that's the reason why they're having a hard time finding these opportunities. They have the ability to punish, but at the same time, it's just lacking at this point.
Lacking, and no particular initiation for OGCore as well. If you kind of feel out, they do have the Zephyrus, they do have the possibility maybe of the Zenyo to kind of get those knockups, but at the end of the day, there is no, how do you say this, route control that stuns people and lets them kind of, you know, wave over the members here of XD Gaming, and XD Gaming on the other hand are fine with that. They don't need to any initiations because they have hope for days, and it shows. They have the Violet, they have the Joker here, and the pressure is now on. They have to play at the range of ExDee Gaming while at the same time defending their tier 3 towers, but it's gonna be very iffy for them.
Yeah, actually, one of their heavy CC that they could do for initiate is just the Crushed when he enters Metamorphosis and get that tidal wave on towards the wall. It's one of the really effective crowd control team fight CC that they could do, but at this point, as you can see, a lot of people are falling down, especially the Crash. He's the first one to fall. A lot of members from ExDee Gaming are super healthy at this point, and they're just leaning up OGCore, but OGCore does not want to fall without a fight.
Yeah, they don't want to fall without the fight, but that might be what just happens here. They are trying desperately to push out ExDee Gaming, but it's not gonna be enough. They get the 1 kill on Dexter, but at the end of the day, that's just gonna be the core. 12 minutes in, and game number 1 is netted, bagged by ExDee Gaming. OGCore and having such a difficult task at hand to kind of, again, deal with that tempo.
Yeah, a very, very clean game as well. Not the perfect game because I said clean because none of their turrets are actually damaged nothing fell on their side. But at this point, ExDee Gaming, I really thought during that first engage, I really thought that OGCore was the one that would actually break or cause a dent at ExDee Gaming's armor, but then it didn't happen. It was like, okay, we will show you that we could outplay you when you're aggressive. Even though you already got a pick, we could push you down to our towers and just make the most out of it. And you saw how Violet just continuously farmed and got a lot of experience. Look at the level gap. It was like 3 to 4 level gap, and they did so.
Yeah, I was honestly surprised that Blastoise was level 3 when everybody else on the team was like level 5 and above, but it was with good intentions. I mean, as long as you use that Mina once she hits level 4 with that taunt of hers or that pull of hers, and then you just allow the Violet and the Joker to kind of free hit, it basically just makes her death worth. And again, it showed. Like at some point, everybody was like level 9, but level 10 on the opponent team, and then Violet was 11 or 12 already, and she was just putting out the damage.
Yeah, normally when these teams like ExDee Gaming, they knew that what they were doing. Normally a double marksman also works, but at the same time, it's a very, what do you call this, very tricky composition to execute. We did say that it would work if it snowballed, because when it's 5v5, there's going to be a lot of peel on the side of OGCore. But that didn't happen. It was mostly skirmishes, pickoffs, bullying at the jungle. Really got a huge lead because of, they're trying to starve OGCore of their own resources. And they did it they executed so well and so confidently. They knew where to go. And just as you said, even if Mina was just level 3, it was so worth because they got the information needed on where to rotate. And that's why they played conservatively, because they know that they cannot deal with group fights.
Yeah, and again, I think another thing that we haven't really put too much here is that there wasn't really much initiation for OGCore to kind of work with. Anyways, there's going to be the draft already for game number 2. So let's get onto that and see if this night ExDee Gaming, like you said, will be getting a dent, or will their streak be still hot as they are looking undefeated in our matches.
Yeah, I mean, OGCore had that initiation with the Crushed, but at the same time, it was already too late because a lot of them have already spiked up. Therefore, your metamorphosis wouldn't do any good. You're still not gonna appear as tanky as expected. So with that said, ExDee Gaming bans out their Joker, which is pretty interesting to me. So OGCore, would this mean a Zephys first pick? Again, it still would really depend on their playstyle. So they decided to go for the Murad, and maybe they might offer a Lindis jungle. Again, I did say how scared I am whenever they lock in Lindis, because Lindis, for me, knowing the fact that you don't have an innate dash, you just have that movement speed from that rush passive. So this would mean I could easily bully you if I get like 2 to 3 levels ahead.
Ooh, I was thinking maybe ExDee Gaming. It's fine that they take out the Joker because they have a Violet, but I totally forgot that they also implement a Tell Honest. If the Lindis is good at range whenever she has her burst ability to kind of dish out the damage, well, Tell Honest kind of has the same mechanic, but now she has auto attack rate, a bigger auto attack range for a certain time, and it kind of gives her much more leeway here. And this could be actually pretty good. But OGCore, on the other hand, like you said, will use that utility as well as range from the Lindis. And at the same time, the Maganga, having the Malik and the Crash to kind of pin their opponents down will definitely allow him to stack up those poisons and get that damage that he sorely needs to set up that Maganga stacking combo.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be surprised if they want the Max here. We did mention Max sort of counters the Maganga with that shock debuff, just trying to reduce the HP regeneration. So it's one of those things that is a common matchup every time we see, for some reason, well, not really. Max has been picked even though a Maganga is not present. I guess it's the added bonuses, and Max is also one of meta picks in the current scene as well. I do love the Alice pick. Again, I'm a huge fan of Alice, not only because it's version 14, but it's also a very good pre-level for sort of gank. Everything is complete. You have movement speed, you have shields, you have that stun. So I'm really looking forward to what ExDee Gaming has in mind for their composition this time around.
Yeah, true that. It's going to be curious to see how they're going to be position here and now, because once again, ExDee Gaming kind of plays two sides of the coin. They play a composition for game number 1, and they don't repeat that for game number 2, and it kind of throws off their opponents, because if that's their strategy, they're kind of thinking, OGCore are kind of thinking, all right, we're gonna be facing again that type of composition for game number 1, and then they put this for game number 2. It's like, what are we supposed to do with this one? We're not gonna be feeling comfortable because we haven't felt this type of playstyle yet, and that might be, ExDee Gaming's plan, a sort of, we have a huge hero pool, so we're gonna be boasting that against you kind of, strategy here, and it seems to work. With yesterday, it might work now.
Yeah, exactly. It's really hard to defeat a team that you don't really understand, especially if you don't sense a pattern. So this could be a sort of like a strategy or a technique from ExDee Gaming, so that no team, whoever's watching them, will not be able to try and predict. And that's the reason why they're very effective, and they could finish matches like 10 to below 15 minutes. Maybe the fastest game we've witnessed yesterday was 8 minutes under ExDee Gaming. So we'll see how OGCore could adjust to this one.
All right, so let's get into game number 2. We are into the map already here. Will ExDee Gaming, push through, or will it be OGCore to come back into this fight?
3. It might be another deja vu moment where level 1 skirmishes is not going to be that common. So it's all about rushing to that level, especially on Murad's side. Murad is going to have a fun time, as their mid laner is going to be a Maganga, I suppose. So it's one of the most vulnerable targets that you have in the mid lane. No innate dash. It's not going to be a L'Oreal that could dance around the battlefield. It's going to be a Maganga that's going to be relying on that flicker for that safety. And once you just bait that out, it's going to be so much easier for that Murad to dive in, try to burst you down, and probably rely on whoever that could go with him on his 3-man rotation. It could be that Preda, it could be maybe the Max that could just lift off towards mid lane. We'll just have to see.
Yeah, speaking of, kind of lift ups here, there is a lot of to the skies type of ultimate tier for OG. They went for a last rotation pick, I believe, the Crash as well as the Zenial. So, or rather, yeah, they have a Zenial and a Malik rather here. So they haven't combo on their side, as they will try to implement that immediately on the bottom side of the map. Alice is here, no ultimates for her just yet, and she could actually be in Worlds of Hurt, and First Blood will be had by OGCore, and that opens up the possibility of this Abyssal Dragon. And you can see, because the Murad positioned himself on the top side, that's going to be a freebie for them.
Yeah, GGWP as Abyssal Dragon is going to be secured by OGCore. Good decision making there, picking off the Alice first before heading on over to our Abyssal Dragon. Murad was spotted at the top side of the map, which would mean OGCore was confident enough to make that move towards bot side. So, well played and good decision there, OGCore.
Yeah. I was about to say that OGCore kind of has a weird composition here. Not really weird, but again, a very risky composition wherein they have to start it early or they're going to be kind of faltering in the late game. And it kind of shows that they have been trying to do just that. Although, as you can see here, our Malik is going to try to run away. Thankfully enough, he does have his level 4 just to skedoodle away from that bottom tier 1. But he was very low. Who was actually following him? That is the Preda with the Prey Wave. And he puts very low this Malik, although that opens the possibility to get this bottom tier 1. Look at the damage rate, down to about half HP from just a couple of shots. And Malik is nowhere to be seen here. And now Miss Preda is really focusing on his bottom tier 1, but until honest, has to back off, get her items, or rather get her at least heal going there. Maybe go to mid? No, just going back to bot.
Yeah, 40 seconds on the clock or less for the Abyssal Dragon is spawned. At that point, it was a good job to actually use the shock for safety. And at that point, I really love the rotations and decision making of OGCore because it's definitely better than game number 1. But it's one of those things where they have to really make these proactive moves, or else ExDee Gaming is just going to take advantage of your passiveness. So what they're doing is really, really good. Okay, nicely done. Let him off.
So they're going to use the shield of this Thresh to actually absorb all of that damage. Not really much in terms of the response here, and that's what we're talking about. The Max will be using ultimate to start off the fight, but this is going to be very, very risky. They have the usage on the Malik with that ultimate as well as Zenyo, so they're going to be here and now. But look at this, the setup for Pain as he goes in with the Temporal Turbulence. Once again, shuts down onto the Lindis, putting them to very low HP, and he is just going to town right now as Kumar trying to run away here. But of course, that Murad with a second Temporal Turbulence just for the clutch kill before he goes down, and they are coming back from this one. But you can't put out of the equation OGCore just yet, because they are doing the best that they can to bring it back all the way downtown, as that Naganga has been free stacking his poison stacks, and it is dealing a good chunk of damage. But at the end of the day, ExDee Gaming still was able to kind of put a seal on that bleed before it started to go out of control.
Yeah, the tricky part about having to play a Murad, normally you just want to be the first one to actually decide, I'm going to gank because I have 4 stacks. Now that OGCore is making the proactive plays, you're forcing Murad to respond even though he doesn't have that 4 stacks to actually activate his Temporal Turbulence. If you place him in an awkward position, he might be forced to auto-attack on heroes, which is normally not a good idea.
Ooh. And Insight, well, he's not Insight anymore, he's Inside Out. And there you're gonna be following up onto the possibility to go more cores against OGCore here. But, well, ExDee Gaming is just coming back. I mean, it seemed like OGCore had it pretty done and done there, but having Pain on this Murad is definitely making strides for them. Even though he had some difficulty in the early stages, he is gonna be spearheading ExDee Gaming.
Exactly. I mean, with that said, I was talking about the strength of the Murad. Normally, he's really good when he's contesting objectives like a Dragon, Sentinel, and Dark Slayer, because there's so many sources, or there's that huge target of auto attack just for that stacks to build up on. And I believe they had this brave mistake of trying to contest that Sentinel. There's so many sources of that auto attack, but meanwhile, we can see that the Max is getting focused upon, but again, he's super tanky, and I believe there's not enough burst to actually finish him off.
They push back Dexter here, but I think Dexter is in a good spot that he won't really be in much of a danger. Good damage, though, to come out from Yolo Polo Solo as he gets a bit too over-aggressive there, but he has the crush. Once he still has that shield, it's all going to be fine, good in the hood. But you said that they were going up against Shiny here on that Max in the bottom side, but this is just ExDee Gaming, kind of like using the Tilanas earlier on. Like, they knew already that she was already in the point where she can fight, fight the good fight, and they just leave Max on these sidelines to fend off for himself, and with good reason, he can, like you said, absorb the damage.
Definitely. As you can see here, Abyssal Dragon being secured by ExDee Gaming, I believe, as you can see.
Oh no!
Oh my! Hissy Fit being dropped on the Shaw. Oh my lord.
Hallelujah. I don't know though why you would use your ultimate to combo rather than escape. That was a little bit iffy here for OGCore, maybe a little bit of mistakes as well, but that was a mistake to be paid for the life of Kumar as Yolo Polo Solo, the Crash is trying to, waddle away from this fight, but there's just too much chase potential here, too much range, and he should just, forfeit his life. Ultimate will be had by XD Pain, and this is looking more to be a cleaner game against OGCore. 8 minutes into the game, and we're already seeing 21k to 18k of OGCore.
Yeah, this is how, look at that, this is how you play a Murad. So aggressive, not stopping, getting them stacks at their opponent's jungle camp, and once you see a juicy target, that's when you try and chase them down and activate. The burst is real already at XD Gaming side, and at this point, they have so much space to work with, so many objectives to take just to press on with their lead, and Murad is just having a fun time farming and clearing up the camps at their own jungle. But let's see where this Max is charging in.
Never mind that. Yeah. Speaking of objectives, OGCore has not broken a single tower of XD Gaming. I think same as last game as well. They weren't break any of these objectives. And yeah, granted they do have the Abyssal Dragon, but after that, you can see OGCore kind of maybe fiddling with what they have to do. Do we go for the kills, or do we go for the objectives, or because we can't get these kills is the reason why we can't go for these objectives? And they're gonna get Murad Pope, and they might be even able to get the kill. Dude.
What a combo. If it's not enough, the Spectral Plague coming from, that's the second Turbulence already from that Murad. Bloodbath already from XD Pain, inflicting a lot of hurt onto OGCore. Third one comes in, but it's not going to be enough. But that's enough in terms of pressure just to press on with their siege.
And siege is real. Onslaught gonna be ready to crash. Uses the wave a tad bit too a little or too off on that positioning a bit, and he loses two of their crucial members right then and there. The core is exposed, and what looked like to have been OGCore looking to come back into this game, and XD Gaming are still, in the driver's seat. They're basically, pumping it pedal to the metal, Vin Diesel style, Fast and the Furious, because now they're gonna get a win 10 minutes into this game, and 2-0 XD Gaming. Oh my goodness.
Not a single dent at all on their winning streak once again, not even series. So XD Gaming is so strong in this competition. I'm so curious how or which team is going to, give them a hard time. Earlier we've seen a couple of proactive plays from OGCore, but it didn't really translate into anything because the Murad just kept going. So the space, they are, they are making the right move, but Murad was still free farming all that time.
All that time. And again, this is just, I guess, the management of OGCore's objectives. Again, they had some pretty good team fights at the very early stages of this game, but like you said, there was no take on these turrets. I mean, you could see maybe the mid is down to 80% HP, but the bottom as well as the top, not even close to going down at all. there was that point where we saw, I believe, OGCore over that pick on Talanas, right?
Yes.
But after going for the Abyssal Dragon, they could have actually still pressure on the bottom lane. Talanas defended that by herself, and if they actually rotated their bottom lane by XD Gaming, they could have went mid and kind of, like you said, strong arm their way for some objectives, and they never got to that point. And if you don't, it just won't really transition into anything.
Yeah, I mean, there are two vulnerable targets on the side of XD Gaming. I mean, Preda mid is a very vulnerable target, Talanas as well, super squishy. And I feel like that's their mindset. That's the reason why they got crushed for the Disrupt talent instead of anything else. They wanted all these early game tower dive kills, but once you just leave the Murad, then the Murad is just going to keep bullying you in your own jungle, therefore not allowing you to actually make those kinds of strategies or those movements to do the tower dive. You are going to be too busy dealing with the Murad, stealing all your camps, destroying your jungler, especially the Lindis. Again, these picks are easily bullied. I did mention that's going to be a huge problem because of the mobility offered by the Murad. If I can't kill you, it's fine. I can skedoodle away from danger anyway.
Yeah, and this kind of puts us back to the point where in teams right now can choose not to go marksman at all, or even maybe the toughest marksman out there, possibly Warren, who can, has, I believe, built-in lifesteal and shield, so at least he can survive the initial poke of this Murad. But if you have the Lindis who only has, from far away and you can scout out some opponents here and there, Murad can definitely bypass a lot of that, and it puts her in a curious situation. But once again, I feel like again they could have picked better in their drafting, but at this point on, they weren't able to really maximize that Lindis.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough. It's all about where do you go after you get a kill?
Yeah.
Do we go back to farming, or do we take else away from the map? And it seems that maybe it's about knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses, because obviously XG Gaming knew that it's not their time to shine just yet, and once they get their 2 item power spikes and they know the terrain, this is perfect spot to actually start a fight, then that's the time they get rolling. That's the time they get aggressive. But I can tell OGCore had the correct mindset. It's just that if you leave this Murad and the rest of the members, it's going to be a
huge problem indeed. So, I mean, that already wraps up our best of 3 now.